Chosen one, there are moments in life when everything shifts in an instant, when time itself seems to hold its breath and the world as you know it is forever changed. These moments cannot be predicted by logic nor delayed by hesitation. They arrive like lightning, unexpected yet undeniable, transforming everything they touch. You are standing on the threshold of such a moment now, and whether you are ready or not, destiny is ready for you. This is why it is so important that you stay here with me until the end of this message. What you will hear is not a coincidence, it is a signal meant for you. Watch till the end, because the shift that is coming requires your awareness and your readiness. And as you listen, take a moment to write your warmest wishes in 777 in the comments below. This is more than an action, it is an energy, a declaration that you are ready for your desires to manifest, for your spirit to align with the universe, and for your life to transform in ways you cannot yet imagine. Life-changing shifts often come disguised as ordinary days. You wake up expecting routine, but by nightfall nothing is the same. One phone call, one decision, one encounter can reroute your entire path. The danger lies not in missing the event, but in being unprepared for it. To be unprepared is to let opportunity slip through your fingers, to watch destiny arrive but lack the courage to claim it. But to be ready is to step into that moment with open eyes, steady hands, and a spirit that says, "I was waiting for this." Readiness is not about predicting when the shift will come. It is about living in a state of alignment so that whenever it comes, you are able to respond. This means cultivating awareness, sharpening discernment, and strengthening the core of who you are. When you are ready within, the external changes no longer overwhelm you. Instead, they propel you. The sudden shift does not destroy your balance, it confirms it. There are many who fear these shifts because they cling to stability, even when that stability is built on illusions. They would rather stay in familiar cages than walk into unknown freedom. But destiny cannot be delayed forever. The universe does not wait for endless hesitation. When the appointed time comes, it comes. And those who resist find themselves broken by the very change that was meant to free them. But those who are ready, those who understand that life was never meant to remain stagnant, rise into a new dimension of living. Think about how many times in your past a single moment altered everything. Perhaps it was the loss that forced you to discover your strength. Perhaps it was the chance meeting that opened doors you didn't know existed. Perhaps it was the failure that redirected you toward a greater purpose. Every instant shift carried weight, and though it may not have felt like destiny at the time, it shaped you into who you are now. And just as those shifts defined your past, the one that is approaching will define your future. The truth is that transformation does not require time, it requires surrender. One instant of clarity can undo years of confusion. One instant of courage can rewrite decades of fear. One instant of action can create opportunities that otherwise would have never existed. This is the power of readiness. It collapses the distance between where you are and where you are meant to be. To live ready means letting go of what no longer serves you. It means releasing attachments to illusions, to people who drain you, to habits that weaken you. Because when the shift comes, it will come quickly, and what you carry will either propel you forward or hold you back. You cannot run into the future with chains around your ankles. You must be light, unburdened, prepared to move when the call arrives. The energy around you is shifting, even now. You can feel it in the restlessness, in the way old patterns no longer satisfy you, in the sense that something bigger is waiting just beyond the horizon. That feeling is not random. It is preparation. It is your spirit being awakened to what is coming. And when it arrives, the choice will be simple: hesitate and miss it, or step boldly and claim it. The moment of sudden change is not far, it is close, pressing in, waiting for your response. Do not waste time in doubt. Do not lose yourself in fear. Do not wait for someone else to confirm what you already know. You have felt this shift building. You have heard it whispering in your spirit, and now it is almost here. Be ready, because when it comes, it will not wait for your permission. It will sweep through like a tide, and only those who are prepared will rise with it. Shifts that come in an instant are rarely accidents. They are the culmination of seeds planted long ago, decisions you made in moments of doubt, and whispers that guided you when you thought you were lost. At first glance, the transformation may look sudden, but in truth, the universe has been preparing you for it for years. The patterns, the struggles, the lessons, they all converge in that one decisive moment. That is why readiness is not about guessing when change will arrive, but about living in such alignment that when it does, you are able to recognize it. The smallest signals often carry the greatest meaning. A door that closes unexpectedly, a person who drifts away, a thought that will not leave your mind. These are not random. They are markers of the shift approaching. Many ignore them because they appear insignificant, but those who are alert understand that even the quietest signs are part of a greater story unfolding. To be ready is to treat every detail as sacred, to listen with more than your ears, to see with more than your eyes, and to sense with the wisdom of your spirit. Sudden shifts can feel disruptive because they demand a response. You cannot remain neutral in the face of transformation. Neutrality becomes the same as hesitation, and hesitation becomes the same as loss. The moment asks you to choose fear or courage, doubt or faith, retreat or advance. The power of these moments lies in their urgency. They do not give you time to overthink or to cling to old patterns. They demand that you act, and in that action, destiny is decided. Many people miss their shift because they are too busy waiting for perfection. They want every detail to align, every guarantee to be in place, every fear to vanish before they move. But life does not work that way. Shifts do not wait for your comfort, they wait for your readiness. And readiness is not about certainty, it is about willingness. Willingness to trust the unseen, willingness to risk the unfamiliar, willingness to believe that the unknown may carry more promise than the known ever could. There will always be a reason to delay. There will always be a voice that says, "Not yet, not today, not this way." But those voices belong to fear, not to destiny. Fear thrives on hesitation. Destiny thrives on action. That is why instant shifts come without warning. They bypass the endless debates of the mind and call directly to the courage of the heart. The question is not whether you feel ready. The question is whether you are willing to answer the call. Every great transformation in history, every life that became extraordinary, was marked by a moment of sudden change. It might have been a decision to leave behind what was comfortable. It might have been a choice to step into a space where failure seemed possible but growth was certain. It might have been the courage to say yes when everything around screamed no. These moments are what separate those who drift through life from those who shape it. And you are being called to shape it. It is important to understand that the universe never wastes a shift. When it comes, it is perfectly timed. It may not align with your schedule or your expectations, but it aligns with something greater, your purpose. If it feels sudden, it is only because you could not yet see the threads being woven. Now they are coming together and the pattern is becoming clear. The question is whether you will trust it enough to step forward. To live ready is to train yourself for courage in small things so that when the big moment comes, courage flows naturally. Every time you choose honesty over convenience, every time you confront fear instead of avoiding it, every time you trust your intuition rather than silencing it, you are preparing yourself. Readiness is not built in the moment of crisis, it is built in the quiet choices you make daily. That is why your sudden shift will not destroy you. You have been preparing for it all along, even if you didn't know it. When the shift arrives, you may feel the ground tremble. Old routines may collapse, old relationships may fade, old ways of thinking may no longer serve you, but do not mistake this disruption for destruction. It is construction, the building of a new foundation that can carry the weight of who you are becoming. You are not losing stability, you are gaining strength. You are not being abandoned, you are being directed. You are not being punished, you are being promoted. There is a freedom in knowing that everything can change in an instant. You no longer have to be trapped by the thought that your current reality will last forever. One moment can shift everything: your opportunities, your relationships, your perspective, your future. And because of that, no season of struggle is permanent. No chain of limitation is eternal. At any moment, the shift can come, and when it does, the only requirement is that you be ready to claim it. When life shifts in an instant, the first feeling is often shock. It feels as though the ground beneath you has disappeared, and the familiar patterns you leaned on no longer exist. The habits, the relationships, the routines, all of them suddenly feel fragile, unable to withstand the force of transformation. At first, this disorientation may seem like chaos, but in reality, it is clarity tearing away what could no longer support you. The collapse is not the end, it is the removal of false stability, so you can stand on what is real. The suddenness of transformation can feel brutal because it doesn't give you time to negotiate. One moment you are certain of who you are, where you stand, and what lies ahead. The next moment, everything is different. But within this rupture lies a sacred invitation, the chance to meet yourself again. The self that has been buried under expectations, weighed down by fear, silenced by doubt, now has the opportunity to rise. The instant shift does not destroy you, it reveals you. This revelation is not always comfortable. When illusions fall away, they leave scars. You realize how much of your life was spent building on unstable ground. You see the masks people wore, the compromises you made, the dreams you postponed. At first, this can bring grief, even anger. But as you allow yourself to feel these emotions, you begin to understand their purpose. They are not here to weaken you, but to cleanse you. They purge the old energy so that the new can take root. Without this breaking, there would be no becoming. What emerges in these moments is a new identity, one that is not based on what others demanded from you, but on who you truly are. Transformation strips away the roles you played for acceptance, the personas you adopted for survival, and the limitations you believed were permanent. It leaves you raw, exposed, and vulnerable, but also more authentic than you have ever been. The person who walks forward after a sudden shift is not the same as the one who stood before it. You are lighter, sharper, freer. The discomfort of change often comes from the tension between who you were and who you are becoming. The old version of yourself clings to what is familiar, even if it no longer serves you, while the new version pulls you toward growth. This tug of war can feel exhausting, but it is also proof of your evolution. The fact that you can feel the stretch means you are expanding. And though expansion can hurt, it is the only way to live fully alive. Do not underestimate the courage it takes to embrace this process. Many resist, running back to what is familiar, trying to piece together broken illusions. But you cannot rebuild what was meant to collapse. You cannot resurrect what was destined to end. The more you cling, the more painful the shift becomes. The sooner you surrender, the sooner the transformation can complete its work. Surrender is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is the recognition that the old life cannot hold the new version of you. This surrender is what unlocks the gift hidden inside the chaos. Once you let go, you begin to see opportunities where before you saw only endings. The path that seemed blocked suddenly opens. The connections that disappeared are replaced with ones that align with your truth. The strength you doubted rises to the surface, and you realize that the collapse was never about destroying you, it was about clearing the way for you. Sudden shifts carry with them a strange duality. They feel violent, but are actually merciful. They remove what you would never have released on your own. They push you out of cages you had learned to decorate. They force you to see what you could have ignored for years. And though in the moment it may feel like loss, in hindsight it becomes clear that it was freedom. What you lost was illusion. What you gained was reality. This is why readiness matters so much. If you are prepared within, the shock of the shift will not paralyze you, it will propel you. Instead of asking, but why is this happening to me? You will declare, This is happening for me. That shift in perspective is the difference between despair and destiny. It is what allows you to rise from the ashes of endings with the fire of beginnings in your spirit. Every sudden transformation leaves behind a choice to rebuild the old or to embrace the new. Those who attempt to rebuild the old find themselves trapped in cycles of frustration, trying to piece together fragments that no longer fit. Those who embrace the new discover possibilities beyond anything they imagined. They realize that the very thing they feared most, the collapse, was the doorway into their liberation. And now you stand at that doorway. The shift has begun and it will not reverse. You can resist and suffer, or you can surrender and rise. The choice is yours, but the momentum of destiny is already moving. It will not wait, it will not slow down. It will carry you forward with or without your permission. Better to align with it, to flow with its force, and to claim the transformation as your own. Because once you do, you will never again mistake endings for failure or sudden shifts for loss. You will know them for what they are, thresholds into your becoming. When the dust settles after a sudden shift, a different kind of silence arrives. It is not the silence of uncertainty, nor the silence of fear. It is the silence of a blank canvas waiting for you to decide what will be painted upon it. This moment is both liberating and terrifying. The old has fallen away, but the new has not yet been fully built. You stand in between, holding the fragments of the past in one hand and the raw potential of the future in the other. What you choose to do in this space determines everything that follows. This is the stage where many falter, because it feels safer to cling to what is gone than to create what has never existed. But safety is not the same as destiny. Safety holds you in place while destiny calls you forward. The temptation to rebuild what collapsed will always be strong. But if you try, you will discover quickly that the pieces no longer fit. What was destroyed was not meant to rise again in the same form. The collapse was purposeful, clearing the way for something new. In this stage of rebuilding, clarity becomes your greatest ally. The truth revealed in the shift sharpens your vision. You see with new eyes, noticing what aligns and what doesn't, discerning what gives life and what drains it. With this clarity, you no longer waste time investing in illusions. You no longer beg for acceptance from those who thrive in shadows. You no longer tolerate environments that shrink your spirit. The shift has purified your perspective, and that purification will protect you as you step into what comes next. New opportunities begin to appear as if out of nowhere, but in reality, they were waiting for you to arrive at this level of awareness. Doors that were once closed now swing open because you have the courage to walk through them. Connections that once felt impossible are now within reach because you can recognize authenticity in others. Possibilities that once seemed distant now feel close because you have released the weight of hesitation. The sudden shift did not just change your circumstances, it changed you. And because you are different, the world responds differently to you. This transformation demands that you build with intention. No longer can you drift without purpose, hoping life will arrange itself in your favor. The blank canvas requires your brush. The foundation requires your hands. The shift gave you freedom, but freedom without responsibility becomes chaos. To live truly free, you must shape your destiny consciously, aligning your actions with your vision, refusing to settle for less than what truth has revealed is possible. At this point, it is important to guard against the voices of doubt. Some will try to convince you that nothing has really changed, that you are still the same, that you should return to the patterns you once lived in. These voices may come from others, but sometimes they come from within, the echoes of an old identity that no longer belongs to you. Do not be deceived. You are not who you were before the shift. You cannot unsee what has been revealed. You cannot unknow what you now know. Any attempt to return will only create frustration because the old self no longer fits the new reality. Instead, you must rise into the version of yourself that the shift has unlocked. This version of you is stronger, braver, and more focused. You no longer tolerate half-truths. You no longer waste time on meaningless pursuits. You no longer bend yourself to fit into spaces that dishonor your soul. You walk with the weight of revelation, and with that weight comes authority. You have authority over your path, authority over your choices, authority over the energy you allow into your life. There will still be challenges ahead because growth does not erase difficulty. But difficulty faced with clarity is different than difficulty faced with confusion. You now understand the purpose of struggle. It refines you, strengthens you, and prepares you for greater levels of alignment. You no longer fear it because you know that even hardship is part of the process that elevates you. When sudden shifts break the old, even trials become tools of transformation. This stage is also where gratitude becomes essential. Gratitude for what collapsed, gratitude for what survived, gratitude for what is yet to come. Gratitude shifts your focus from loss to possibility, from fear to anticipation. It reminds you that though the shift felt disruptive, it was a gift. It was the universe aligning circumstances for your growth, even when you could not see it. Gratitude turns the pain of endings into the excitement of beginnings. And so you stand here in this space between what was and what will be, with a choice in your hands. You can return to the comfort of the familiar, knowing it will never satisfy you again. Or you can step boldly into the unknown, trusting that the same force that brought the shift will guide you in building something greater than you ever imagined. The blank canvas is waiting, the silence is calling, and your readiness will determine the picture you create. There comes a moment in every transformation when you realize there is no path back to who you once were. You may remember the routines, the habits, the people, but they no longer fit, no longer resonate, no longer align with the person you are becoming. The sudden shift has altered your trajectory so completely that even if you tried to return, the door would not open. This is both the hardest and the most liberating truth. The old life is gone and a new one is waiting to be fully embraced. The shift reshapes not only how you see the world, but how the world sees you. People who once underestimated you begin to sense your change. Those who thrived on your uncertainty now find themselves unsettled by your clarity. Those who once dismissed your dreams now feel the authority in your voice. The transformation is not just internal, it radiates outward, touching every sphere of your existence. You cannot hide it, nor should you. What was revealed to you in an instant is now being revealed through you as you walk in alignment with it. This stage of transformation requires courage because it demands action that matches the new identity you carry. No longer can you make decisions based on fear of loss, fear of rejection, or fear of failure. The instant shift has already shown you that everything can change in a moment, so why cling to safety when destiny calls you to courage? The life you are stepping into will not be built by hesitation. It will be built by bold choices, by decisive steps, by the refusal to delay when the opportunity arises. The past will try to call you back. It will whisper in familiar voices, remind you of what was once comfortable, tempt you to settle for what you have already outgrown. But you know now that comfort is not always safety. Comfort can be a trap, a cage disguised as peace. True safety is found in truth, and truth will never keep you stagnant. Truth always moves you forward, even when the path is uncertain. That is why you must silence the whispers of the past and listen only to the pull of destiny. One of the most profound changes after a sudden shift is the way you carry yourself. You no longer walk with the weight of confusion. You no longer bow to the pressure of deception. You no longer shrink to fit into spaces that dishonor your spirit. Instead, you walk with a quiet strength, an unshakable presence, a confidence that comes not from arrogance, but from clarity. People sense it, even if they cannot explain it. They see in you a reflection of truth, and that truth unsettles some but inspires others. The shift also sharpens your awareness of time. You begin to realize how precious each moment is, how dangerous hesitation can be, and how powerful a single decision becomes. You stop wasting time on meaningless distractions. You stop investing energy into relationships that do not reciprocate. You stop postponing the dreams that have been burning inside you. You understand now that delay is not neutral, it is costly. Every second matters, and the instant shift has awakened you to the urgency of living fully aligned. Grief may still linger for what was lost in the process. It is natural to feel the weight of endings, to mourn the people who could not walk with you, to ache for the parts of yourself that were tied to the old life. But even grief becomes a teacher. It reminds you of your humanity, it softens your heart, and it deepens your gratitude for what has survived the transformation. Grief and growth often walk together, and though they seem opposite, they both shape you into someone wiser, someone stronger, someone more alive. In the wake of a sudden shift, you also begin to see patterns you missed before. You recognize the cycles of hesitation that once held you back, the compromises that kept you small, the distractions that drained your focus. And with this recognition comes authority. You can no longer be fooled in the same way. You can no longer be trapped by the same illusions. The instant shift has given you vision, and with vision comes freedom. The life ahead of you is not built on the fragments of what collapsed, it is built on the foundation of what was revealed. You are not meant to patch together the ruins of the old. You are meant to create something entirely new, something that reflects your clarity, your courage, your authenticity. This new life will not mirror the old one in any way because it is not an extension of what ended. It is the birth of what begins. The most important thing you can do now is honor the shift by living in alignment with it. To know the truth and ignore it is to betray yourself. To feel the call and silence it is to delay what was meant to rise. But to embrace it, to act on it, to trust it, that is to step fully into the life that has been waiting for you all along. The shift was not random. It was not an accident. It was the universe aligning everything to propel you forward. And now that it has come, your only task is to live ready, live awake, live aligned. The shift that once felt distant is no longer approaching, it has already arrived. What has been revealed cannot be hidden again, and what you have become cannot be undone. The old life has fallen away, and though its echoes may call to you, they hold no power over who you are now. You are standing in a place of clarity, carrying strength that hesitation once denied you, holding vision that fear once tried to blur. This moment is not a pause, but a launch, a threshold into a life where you refuse to delay, where every step you take is charged with purpose. The sudden transformation has rewritten your story, and now it asks only one thing of you. Walk forward without looking back. The path is open, the time is now, and your readiness is the key to everything waiting on the other side. Every transformation demands a response, and this one is no different. The shift has already shaken your foundation, removed what no longer belonged, and opened a path that only you can walk. Now the question is not whether you are ready, the question is whether you will honor the change that has already taken place. Too many people miss their destiny not because the moment never came, but because when it came they hesitated. They doubted their worth, second-guessed their intuition, and delayed their action. But you have seen enough to know that hesitation is costly and delay is dangerous. The future does not wait for the unprepared, it rewards the bold. This is the moment where your courage becomes louder than your fear, where your vision becomes stronger than your doubt. The universe has already aligned the pieces, and the signal is clear: step forward. You are not being asked to carry the old weight or to fix the ruins of what collapsed. You are being asked to walk lighter, freer, more awake than ever before. What lies ahead is not random, it is the result of every lesson, every pain, every hidden truth that shaped you into who you are today. Do not waste this shift. Do not shrink back into the safety of illusions. The power you have gained is not temporary, it is permanent. And as long as you choose to honor it, no force can strip it away. Walk boldly into this new season and let the evidence of your transformation be undeniable. The moment has arrived and everything changes now.